Hi, my name is Alexia Snyder, and I am currently a graduate student at Queen's University. Today I will be talking about intercultural communication ethics before the conversation begins, specifying within the realms of culture shock. Today I will be talking about what intercultural communication ethics is. I will tie it along with an example from our text, and I will explain and show you an example in a clip from the film Elf. Lastly, I will tie everything into a peer-reviewed journal that discusses intercultural friendship development. But first, what is intercultural communication ethics? According to our text, Arnett et al., it protects and promotes the good of a particular culture, understanding culture as a shaping force behind persons and communities. The text also provides an example involving college students and those who decide to study abroad. If and when the student wants to study abroad, they will eventually be immersed within the other country's culture and language simply just by being within the same geographical space. Culture shock then comes into play when the student finally enters the sphere of the unknown where there is absolutely nothing familiar to them. Will Ferrell in Elf is an example of culture shock in play. Will Ferrell's character, Buddy the Elf, finds his way into Santa's bag on Christmas Eve and then returns to the North Pole with Santa. After he is there, the North Pole and Santa's workshop becomes all that he knows. The other elves become his brothers and sisters, and the North Pole becomes his home. Even though it is clear that Buddy is not an elf, he believes wholeheartedly that he is. One day, Santa sits Buddy down and explains the situation to him and then encourages him to venture to New York to go find his real father. Through this adventure, Buddy experiences culture shock as the North Pole is quite different from New York City. This clip features a few examples.
Shooby-dooby. Don't you know each cloud contains stands from heaven? Shooby-dooby. You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is upside down. And trading for a package of sunshine and ravioli. Macaroni, if you want the thing you love.
You did it! Congratulations! World's best cup of coffee. Great job, everybody. It's great to meet you. Hi.
Now come over here, boy. Sam, and every time it rains, it rains. And don't you know it's crocodile? Every time it rains, it rains. And don't you know it's crocodile?
Santa!
Your fortune falling.
Santa!
All over town, all over town, all over town. It's upside down, we live up. Oh, how about those hills, the white? You got out my hungry.
In the video, you notice a man hailing a cab. Buddy did not understand the concept, so he began to feverishly wave back as he thought the man was waving at him. Now, anybody that is familiar with New York understands that that is just the way they hail cabs. Another good example was Buddy playing hopscotch on the pedestrian crosswalk. Since Buddy never had these two experiences in the North Pole, he was completely lost in the different examples that were provided. Thankfully, the miscommunication that was had was never hurtful or harmful to another person. Intercultural friendship development was the article that I found that helped explain friendships that evolve from culture shock in just varying cultures. The text exclaimed that intercultural friendships are characterized by differences between individuals' cultures that bring unique rewards as well as challenges. Individuals must negotiate differences in cultural values and/or languages and overcome enduring stereotypes. However, they also gain unique cultural knowledge, broaden their perspectives, and break stereotypes. Cultural similarity is one of many variables influencing self-disclosure. Think about it. When you meet somebody who has something in common with you, immediately you will be more inclined to talk to them, and through that you'll become more likely to disclose more of your life to them. Even though self-disclosure can help with intercultural development, there are also things that can potentially ruin the friendship. Communication barriers can hinder a blossoming friendship because there aren't as many shared experiences. Also, in some cultures, friendships develop off of the same system of beliefs, so that may hinder friendships as well. Again, think of it as something that is familiar to you. For example, during my undergraduate years, I interacted and studied with some of the study abroad students. I wanted to become friends with them, but at the time I did not know enough German to interact with them. Therefore, it hindered our potential friendship. In the methodology section of this article, the sample included 30 individuals from many different countries. During the interviews, each friendship dyad had to pinpoint different landmarks in their relationship, and if they had a misunderstanding with each other, they were required to figure out what events were associated with the change. The results stated that there were many factors that influenced friendship between the dyad, such as cultural differences, similarities, and targeted socializing. Cultural differences were the most important of the study and correlates along with the movie Elf. It is similar to Elf in the aspect of how Buddy and Jovi's friendship grew. Buddy was drawn to Jovi because he was curious about her, and she was patient with him to explain how life was in New York City. Fortunately for them, there was no language barrier, just cultural differences. According to the article, and that rang true in the film of The Elf, differences among others often work as conversation starters. If it wasn't for a conversation between the two, then Buddy would not understand New York as well as he did at the end of the film. In conclusion, Arnett et al. States it perfectly. A pragmatic reaction to culture shock is learning. No matter what the situation is, it is always best to place the moment as a learning experience. Buddy the Elf was able to deal with being in New York with the help of Jovi. Here are the citations that were used to help with this presentation. Thank you so much for listening.